Today, we're going to dig into something that affects pretty much all of us, a hidden drain on our mental energy. It's this thing called cognitive debt that we rack up every single day without even realizing it. This whole explainer is about finally giving a name to that feeling. You know, the one where you feel busy all day but not productive? And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to reclaim your focus.
So let's just start right there. I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever had one of those days? The kind where your phone is just buzzing off the hook, emails are flying, and you've bounced between like 20 different browser tabs, and then at the end of the day, you are just completely wiped out, but you can't for the life of you figure out what you actually accomplished.
If that sounds familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. What you're feeling is digital overload. It's those endless notifications that just shatter your attention into a million pieces. It's that constant mental fog that makes it impossible to do any real deep work. And it's the reason you feel so drained after staring at a screen. These aren't just little annoyances, you see. They're symptoms of a much, much bigger problem. And that bigger problem, you can think of it like an unseen overdraft on your mind. It's this mental tax that's just chipping away at your focus in the background. And honestly, its effects are getting pretty hard to ignore.
The source material we're looking at today gives this feeling a really powerful name: cognitive debt. And isn't that great? We finally have a term for that nagging sense of mental exhaustion that just seems to follow us around in our digital world.
So let's get into it. What is this cognitive debt that we're all apparently racking up? Let's break this down. Cognitive debt is basically all the mental energy, all that background processing power your brain has to use just to manage all the digital noise. So think of it like a silent tax that's constantly eating away at your ability to do deep, meaningful work, and maybe even more importantly, your ability to just be present with the people right in front of you.
Let's use a money metaphor, because it makes perfect sense. Imagine your focus is a bank account. Every single notification, that's a small withdrawal. And multitasking, that thing we all think makes us super efficient, it's not. It's more like taking out a high-interest payday loan on your attention. And you know what the interest payments are, right? They're lost productivity and that awful mental fog. And if you keep doing this, you're heading straight for what you might call cognitive bankruptcy. We know it as burnout.
Okay, so how do we fix this? The advice you usually hear points in one direction, but it turns out that might just be a myth.
I bet a lot of us have been here. You just hit a wall, you say, that's it, you delete a bunch of apps, you swear off social media for a weekend for a so-called digital detox, and then, a week later, you're right back where you started. Sound familiar? Why doesn't that ever seem to stick? Well, here's the big aha moment from our source material. The usual advice, just do less, the digital detox, it usually fails because it just feels like you're depriving yourself. The real cure, and this is kind of wild, isn't about restriction. It's about strategically doing more deep, focused work on the stuff that actually matters to you. That is what gives you a real sense of accomplishment and puts you back in the driver's seat.
All right, let's unpack this whole doing more strategy. The big shift here is moving away from restriction and toward real intention.
This quote just nails it. True simplicity isn't about doing less, but about strategically doing more of what truly matters. The whole idea is to fill your time with work that's so meaningful, so engaging, that there's just no room left for all the shallow, distracting stuff. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, it's a simple three-step framework. First up, identify. This is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. What are the one or two things that really provide the most value in your work or bring you the most joy? Prioritize like crazy. Second, invest. This isn't about finding a few spare moments here and there. Nope. This is about scheduling large, protected blocks of time for deep work, just like you would a critical meeting. Block out 90 minutes on your calendar and treat it like it's sacred. And finally, number 3, protect. This is where the real battle is won. You have to actively defend that time. Turn your phone on Do Not Disturb. Close every single tab that isn't related to your task. You need to become the fierce guardian of your own focus. And this brings us to the whole point of this. It's not just about getting more stuff done. It's about completely changing your relationship with technology and, really, with your own attention. This right here is the fundamental mindset shift. For way too long, most of us have been passive consumers. We've let our attention get eaten up by whatever algorithm is screaming the loudest. The solution is to become an active investor. You only have a certain amount of attention every day, so where are you going to invest it to get the biggest returns? In fulfillment, in productivity, and just being present. So, as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. What is the one thing, That one project, that one skill, that one relationship that truly deserves more of your focused, undivided attention. Figuring that out, that's your first step to paying down your cognitive debt and finally taking back your focus.